Since Camille Coloratura, I have been in Memphis working with Opera Memphis, had a busy season there, and I did a world premiere opera, I did a production of Barber of Seville, um, and so it's just kind of a bit of new and old opera and concerts in between. And then in about a week, I'm going to San Diego to work with Opera Neo. So it's one job to the next, which is good to be booked and blessed. My story coming into opera is a little strange. Not strange in the sense that I grew up with musical theater. My family was all into musical theater, came from my grandma, who was in shows, and my dad was in shows. And I grew up singing actually Irish folk music. My dad's side of the family is Irish, and they're the singers, and so we had music all the time. But nobody really listened to opera. That was I'm not sure the first time I listened to opera beyond just like Pavarotti, you It wasn't until college that I wanted to go for theater, actually. A lot of people in opera, they come to it through musical theater, acting, and I loved that. And then I got to my undergrad and they said, no, we have to have you sing classical voice. You can't just sing musical theater. I'm like, well, darn it, I'm going to have to figure this thing out. In today's world, singers are trained to be singing actors. It's not a bad word anymore. We can't just park and bark. I think a lot of my peers, at least I notice, really do want to play this full character. As opera singers, of course, we always lead with the music, and when you're working with a good score, it kind of just makes decisions for you. You know, you just follow the music and it gives you the answers. Yes, and doing a new opera is kind of wild. It's a wild experience because you have nothing to base it off of. You don't have recordings. You're lucky to have a MIDI file or something you can at least listen to on the computer to plunk out the notes for you, because otherwise you are creating this character for the first time. And the opera that I was a part of is actually based on a historical story, real story. So I was playing a real life person. But even in that context, I don't have a famous soprano to look to and say, how did you interpret this role? Because I have to create that for myself, which is actually really fun. I love to just keep playing new characters. That's what I'm always so drawn to, is new characters, new music, and singing more difficult music. But something that I probably never imagined for myself when I was still in school was how much I cared so much about putting my own artistry, like who I am, into my artistic endeavors. Again, I used to say I was not a new music girly, and now I've found, oh, actually, this is really cool, and this is fulfilling a part of myself that I didn't know it would fulfill. There are, of course, dream roles from the past that, of course, I want to do. Actually, this past summer, I was in Berlin doing one of my dream roles, which was Zerbinetta from Ariadne of Naxos. That was one of my dream roles. So getting to fulfill that was amazing. But also Gilda from Rigoletto, Lucia, um, honestly, Elvira and I Puritani, like all of those bel canto operas are just my favorite. And Marie in Daughter of the Regiment, so funny. It's fun to play, yes, the dramatic diva, but it's also fun to just have a fun time on stage. Right. Great, excellent, excellent. I think the biggest thing that I fell in love with in opera is the fact that our sounds create so much of the story, that just by making, and for me, like when I make a beautiful sound, or hopefully beautiful sound, that that makes someone feel something. And sometimes if it's not a beautiful sound, that can also make someone feel something else, and in a way that is so human and kind of unlike anything that I experienced in the theater. And And I think that just that focus on the sonic world makes it such a unique industry and makes it such a unique art for us as artists, as humans to go about, and how we connect to other people, whether it's our audience or um, our colleagues. Really, we are using our voices, and that's something so unique and special to each of us. You know, we focus so much in school on finding our own unique voice. Don't try to sound like this famous person here, because we need to find what you have to offer. And as I get older, and especially as I go through like these competitions and such, they give me a platform for really understanding who I am individually as an artist, what I have to say, what makes me different from, someone from 50 years ago that people still love, but the art has to grow and go on. And I love the opportunity to find my own legacy in that. I've been reflecting so much lately on when you're, say, in school and you have this bright, expansive future in front of you. And that's always something to like hold on to. It's always important to dream because this industry is for dreamers. If you don't have a dream, you got nothing. And that's something that I really have learned, um, getting out there in the world and actually working at companies, is just how important the people around you are. It can be sometimes a lonely industry because you're around a lot of people, but when you're traveling around and such, you don't always have a home base. But I have found it is so important to lean on your friends and colleagues around you. I mean, the people you work with can become kind of your best friends. And you might not see them for a while, but it's important to maintain those relationships because that's what those those relationships, those just life moments, that's what fuels you as an artist to keep going, to keep creating characters and put yourself and your heart into everything. Another really important thing to remember is how connections, networking is so important. The people you meet in school, the people you meet on gigs, they will come back in your life. It is a small industry, and it's a small industry full of great people. Like, really get out there and meet people, network, um, because that can lead to work and it can lead to great relationships, and you'll probably work together at some point down the line. So be nice to everyone. It's always more difficult to convey emotion and your voice over a screen. That's just how it is. But that is so necessary in our world now. Any pre screens you do for any company, any competition, we are all doing it online now. And so part of what you have to learn how to do is how to convey that same emotion and the same connection you have with an audience in person over the screen. And one tip for how to do this is invite someone to your recording session. Just have some trusted friends, family, colleagues, whoever you want, kind of as your audience, and have perform to them as you're recording. It kind of draws out this energy that is a lot easier to get with a real audience. But then when you actually have some people there, it can mimic that at least a little bit. Also, really just figuring out how to not pay attention to the camera and not realize that it's there and try to lose yourself. The more you do it, the better it will be. It's practice, just like anything else. The way you practice the music itself, the words, anything, it just takes time. But it shouldn't hinder you from expressing your artistry because it shouldn't be something that hinders you. It should be something that helps and makes things more accessible to everyone. Uh, Something that I wish that I had done when I submit any application for a competition or for an audition in general is submit early, because something that I have always done is wait until the very last minute and then something goes wrong, or I think that I'm going to make a new video and then I miss the deadline. So just be on top of it, put it in your calendar and just submit. That's important. Sometimes if you wait around thinking, oh, I might do this, chances are you're going to forget if you're like me. The learning does not stop. In fact, it really picks up because you're on your own. You need to teach yourself new roles, new arias. And one of the best things is getting out of just learning just arias. You know, you have to, opera is a whole role, it's not just an aria. And so in Europe, actually, a lot of people will learn entire roles and they will always have, like, okay, I can sing this role, this role, this role, that's fully coached and ready to go. And there's something we lose about that in just kind of the American way of learning singing. We are so focused on the audition, learn that aria, and yes, we know what the whole opera is about, hopefully, but it's important to know all of the music and be ready to step in. If you know a role is right for you and you have it learned and coached, perhaps you could step in someday. Maybe. Fingers crossed.